Hello, everybody. It's Stephen Paul from WinExtra bringing you your daily brief of Microsoft news and headlines for June 6, 2011. E3 is the big topic that's going to be happening today all around, well, that and some company called Apple. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, we're still about 2 hours away from the E3 announcements.
Yeah.
So I suppose that will be covered in detail tomorrow once the facts have come in. We do have some E3 stories today, all right, a couple of bits and pieces, but not a whole lot. But
No.
We might have some insight into what we can expect. But you threw in start off the show on a light note. You threw in a video into the show notes of a rather interesting prank.
I thought this was hilarious when I first ran across it on the weekend. But apparently, I guess a German prankster group called Wave Collective decided to prank the Apple Store by putting up the Windows logo in broad daylight. And they did it basically by, they blocked it all off. They had the workman's, outfits, the whole work, and they were climbing up and down the ladder doing it, and they were taking a video of it, which you obviously are seeing right now, but they did a video of the whole escapade. I thought that was right on.
Kind of ballsy little stunt, really. Easy enough to do, though, considering that the Apple Store itself is under construction. It's all blacked off, as you can see in the video there, so people can't exactly see what's going on. People knew it was an Apple Store, but these guys came along, they had their sign, and they just put it up in the 4 sections, and probably cost them a nice little bit of money, too, to get that sign done. It looks like a fairly decent and stable sign. Yeah, to get all the equipment, but
I did notice that it was going around on Twitter, but apparently I think it was within Windows, Raphael, he said that they got the squares the wrong ways around, the color-wise. I don't know.
It looked to me, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but it looked to me on the video, do I still have it open? I might have it open. Yeah, it looks like they might have switched the green tile and the blue tile just ever so slightly the wrong way around. But
who knows? They might have intended on doing that. You never know.
Maybe that was some sort of subliminal message. I don't know. Anyway, moving on from pranks to actual news. It looks like in order to protect their interests with chip makers going forward and to stop people like Apple ripping the sort of graphics chip foundations out from underneath Microsoft, they have a poison pill in place with Microsoft. You wrote about this.
Yeah, Nvidia, this goes back to when Nvidia had the contract for providing the graphics chip for the Xbox, which is now ATI has it. But there is still a clause in place that if any outside company attempts to acquire 30% or more of Nvidia, Microsoft has first rights to buy that 30% or whatever is being bought.
They have first rights and last refusal to buy it.
Yeah.
So basically, this is kind of a major deterrent. I could imagine in Apple's kind of position, them wanting to turn around and say, okay, well, look, if we buy Nvidia, we have this awesome graphics chip manufacturer. I mean, look at the Kal-El and we could get these chips custom tailored to our devices and
mess with everybody else.
Just basically not sell them to anybody that competes with us. But this kind of stops them from doing that because Microsoft has foot in the door for at least 30%.
Yeah.
If not the whole shebang.
I think the deal worked out. It would have to be, $3.4 billion for 30% or more of Nvidia. That's when the pact would kick in.
So, still, $3.4 billion. If they can drop $8.5 billion for Skype, $3.4 billion for Nvidia, for 30% of Nvidia is not a stretch. And in fact, going the whole hog, extrapolate that a little further, that would put it at about what, 11 billion for the entire of Nvidia.
Yeah.
and make sure that Apple and anybody else couldn't get hold of Nvidia chips, and put things like Kal-El into Microsoft laptops, tablets, Windows Phone 7. There's an interesting little speculation going that way. However, this is interesting. This isn't new. This originally started when Nvidia were supposed to got into a deal with Microsoft that they were supposed to provide the chips for Xbox 360. Now we know, for Xbox. Now we know that ATI have been providing the chips since 2003. But that agreement is still in place.
Yeah. Nice.
I wonder, given Microsoft is kind of back on an acquisition path.
I don't think they will.
I know it's probably not going to happen. This is kind of speculation from complete left field. But considering Apple's market cap has just passed Microsoft's and Intel's combined.
Yeah, I saw that.
Could we see Microsoft decide, look, okay, let's circle the wagons. Let's buy as many of the key players that we need in our ecosystem as possible. They're on a drive right now to control hardware specs.
Well,
they're on a drive right now to. They're obviously on an acquisition path. Bammer needs to be doing something to stave off more calls for his head.
That would tie in with Paul Thurrott saying that, Microsoft right now should be buying everything it possibly can to the point where they buy until someone says, no, you can't buy anymore, or they run out of money. But I don't see it. I don't see. I think there would be too many.
Well, think of it. If Microsoft owned Nvidia, right? They'd be the owners of one of the largest graphics chip manufacturer out there. They would have their foot in their door with every single hardware OEM, unless those OEMs want to go off to another platform. They'd have a lot more leverage in pushing what they want with their platforms, in pushing what they want OEMs to do for hardware specs.
It's an interesting.
Not beyond the realms of feasibility.
No, I don't know. I don't see it. I
don't see it, but it may be a smart move.
Yeah, true. I'm just wondering about the regulatory problems that they might encounter with it.
I don't see how there could be a regulatory problem because there are enough other chip manufacturers out there besides Nvidia.
Yeah.
And, Apple doesn't use them.
Yeah, but you could be guaranteed that Apple, I think...
No, Apple does use them. I'm sorry, they do.
Yeah, I think you would find that Apple, Google, and, several other hardware OEMs would definitely be calling for the Justice Department to look into it.
Yeah, but Microsoft could just say, okay, go to somebody else. There's lots of other graphics chip manufacturers.
Again,
make your own graphics chips. Most of them are pumping out their own versions of the ARM architecture anyway.
Yeah.
Why not pump out their own graphics chip?
Yeah. Anyway, it's a debatable. It's interesting, but I don't.
Here's the thing. Wouldn't you think that if these companies had an issue with that, they'd already be going to the Justice Department about the fact that Microsoft can basically stop anybody from buying Nvidia?
True.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
You put this in as well. A WinRumors story, absolutely no text in it. Okay. Microsoft confirms voice search coming to Xbox Live.
Yes, that's about all we have right now. It's just...
And this is what? My only question is, why isn't it there already? You have your headsets, you have your VoIP, you have your Kinect.
Yeah.
You have everything else. All the pieces are in place. Voice search. Okay. Wow. Bing-powered voice search, I presume.
You sound totally thrilled.
It's just a bloody no-brainer to me. I'm like, huh?
Okay. apparently Office 365, the cloud-based version, will be going live or being launched on June 28th. Now, I've been playing around with the beta, not really even playing around. I signed into it and started getting, things set up, and it was like, wow, this is confusing, and they want me to pay for this at some point? I don't know.
You're easily confused.
Well, that's true. I'm old.
Anything different to you is confusing. I mean, we have seen your aversion to anything that is not a desktop app is well known.
That's not true.
My Irish arse, it's not true.
That's not true. Anyway,
so it's launching on the 28th.
Yeah.
So this will be the full release where you're expected to pay for it.
Yeah, they're going to be holding a media event in New York, Skylight Soho, on June 28th. Basic subscriber access to Office 365 will come tethered to an annual cost of $72 US.
Well, hang on. That depends on whether or not you are a business, a private individual, how many users you have. It also depends on whether or not you're a school or a public place. There's a whole bunch of pricing schemes around this. But it's a little more pricey per user than Google Apps, the paid version of Google Apps, but
it's much better.
It is a superior service. There's a lot more to it. You're also getting Exchange rolling and so on and so forth. You get, your 25 gigs of email storage, connectivity support for Outlook 2010 and Outlook 2007. There's the whole. Google Docs is a pretender to the crown still in the office space. It's got a ways to go, and just to kind of put it out there, Google Docs is my primary docs platform. It's basically what I do everything in, but it still doesn't compete to Office, and I think the only reason is that I've just got so much stuff in Google Docs now. It's kind of hard to move on to something else. But it's still very much a pretender to the crown. But this is a good challenge.
Anyway, if you have any thoughts or opinions on what we've talked about today, or on what we might see at E3, or any other thing to do with Microsoft, give us drop us a line at podcast@winextra.com, or leave us a comment anywhere where you find this show, or you can voicemail at 251-281-8730, or leave a text message as well.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the possibility of Microsoft buying Nvidia now that we know they have this veto over other companies. And while we're at it, I know Stephen didn't mention it, but I'd like to encourage you to drop along to WinExtra.com and check out the new donation drive that has started. We will be announcing later today on WinExtra.com. No, actually, we have announced that there are two winners. We'll be informing the two winners later today as to who they are of the previous donation drive, who won $60 worth of Steam games each. Now, this new donation drive is going to be the same rules. It's going to be a $1 donation. 50 cents goes towards making the site better and providing hardware and that sort of stuff. The other 50 cents enters you into a draw, and you can enter as many times as you want just by donating more than $1. This time the prizes are going to be one per person, 12-month subscriptions to Xbox Live. So for all you Xbox heads out there, even if you don't have an Xbox, there's the chance to win it, and you can give it to somebody as a nice gift or whatever the case may be. So it's $1 to make Win Extra matter, and maybe win yourself a year's subscription to Xbox Live as well. So along there.
On that note, folks, that's Paul. I'm Steve. This has been WinExtra's Daily Brief for June the 6th, 2011. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great one, folks.